Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name's Gabe Collins. If you haven't seen any of the videos that I've created yet, I'm a young sales professional about to enter into corporate America, and I'm documenting my journey as well as some tips and tricks I have before going in and throughout. Today, I will be covering the 5 sales books that I believe are crucial for anyone getting into sales. These are books that I've read myself and recommend to anyone considering sales or trying to refine their ability to sell. Every book that I mention here has some great action items, reflection questions, and other viewpoints that I believe are extremely beneficial for the future of selling. So let's get straight into it. The first book that I'm recommending is New Sales Simplified by Mike Weinberg. This book is a fantastic book for understanding the general idea of what sales is, the modern salesperson, and what the modern salesperson does to be successful. I will be rereading this book as soon as I start my job, as it has a bunch of action items for the reader to be able to use for their own sales acumen. He provides a bunch of different documents and resources for you just to be really successful. This was the first sales book that I ever read. And I'm really excited to be able to reread it as a salesperson to be able to use it to my benefit. A few other points is that the book breaks down strong prospecting, being a hunting salesperson rather than a farmer, using the sales weapons mindset, which means basically acting like every single task that you do is a weapon in your arsenal to achieving success in sales, such as getting referrals, setting appointments and meetings, cold calling, and closing. He also covers why a lot of salespeople fail and ways to mitigate that. This book is definitely best used for anyone considering sales, maybe seeing if this is something that they'd enjoy. Also, for someone who wants to refine their methodology and work through common problems with actionable resources that Mike provides. The next book that I recommend is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I do not currently have this one on me. I read this last year, but this book is so unbelievably powerful. The author of this book, Chris Voss, was the lead negotiator. And what he does is he relates the psychology of people and the psychology of how people react and tips and tricks on being able to negotiate. And he relates it to business. And this is super powerful because it's leveraging simple human psychology. A few of the points that he covers is first, tactical empathy. This is a huge theme throughout the book, and it's understanding the other person and truly understanding them and being able to put yourself in their shoes and using that to your advantage to reach a common ground. Another point is the power of no, being able to get your other person to say no gets them to feel more in control and really pushes the negotiation forward in opening up the conversation and creating a more open discussion. Finally, the mirroring and labeling technique. This is often used in sales. This is mirroring the words that they say or the body language that they're using, as well as labeling any of their concerns or their emotions. So if I sense that they're hesitant, I would say something like, seems like you're hesitant about this decision, and then pause and be silent, and they would hopefully open up and have a further conversation. I think this book best serves someone who's already in sales, going through negotiations, trying to strengthen their ability to negotiate. I also think this book is strong just for anyone who wants to learn human psychology and how humans make decisions and react to adversity. I really don't think reading this book would hurt anyone. It's a fantastic read and it's super interesting. He tells a story at the beginning of every chapter, which serves the point that he's talking about. And it's just so interesting learning about the negotiations and high stress situations that he was in. But again, I think that this would best serve someone who's actively going through negotiations or wants to learn more about human psychology. This would not be the first book I read if I was trying to get into sales, but this is definitely one I would add to your arsenal. The next book, and probably my all-time favorite sales book, is Listen to Sell by Mike Esterday and Derek Roberts. As you can see, I wrote notes all over this one. This book is fantastic. This book helped me get past some really big mindset gaps that I was having, and really just goes through the human psychology as the salesperson rather than interactions. They do a lot of self reflection and they do psychology of the other person as well, but it's really good for your mindset and understanding what's really getting in your way. They offer a really unique perspective on traditional sales methodologies. They rename some stuff that's basically the same, but they provide some resources that really give you a different viewpoint on sales. I think this book's my favorite because it covers a lot of my greatest struggle, which is listening more. It's just talking about how listening is crucial, and it's basically the center of everything that we do in sales. 3 points that I think cover this book as a whole are: listening is what drives discovery. So, truly listening, truly understanding, and being genuinely curious about the other person is what's going to drive the conversation and open them up to talking about their pain points. Next is questioning is a lot more powerful than pitching. Salespeople often think right when they get in, or people who don't know much about sales think sales is all about convincing and pitching, when in reality, it's about understanding and discovering what's going on and providing a solution to that problem. Questioning is significantly more powerful than a pitch will ever be, because pitching doesn't necessarily drive human connection, whereas questioning and understanding does. Finally, the 5 levels of listening framework in this book is a fantastic way to open yourself up to understanding your strengths and weaknesses within where you lie on that framework, and just opens you up to being a better listener. Moving on, the next book that I recommend every single person who's in sales read is The Challenger Sale. This is not an underground book pick. Everyone probably knows this book that knows sales. It covers a lot about new methodologies in selling and what's taking place in the modern ages with sales. A lot of the times when you get into sales, you see a lot of really successful salespeople in Gen X and the a generation above that have made their careers on relationship type sales. Obviously, that's super important. Every single person that does sales needs to be able to generate relationships. This book challenges the status quo by doing the research. The people who do that relationship selling perform the least compared to the challenger salesperson, which is someone who takes a more advisor role and teaches the prospect things that they may not even know that they need. I got this book as an audiobook. I would recommend getting it as an actual paperback or a hard copy to be able to read it, because it's really impactful and it's just good to have in hand. 3 points that I would talk about with this one are the framework of teach, tailor, and take control. This framework builds authority within a conversation, therefore leading to more trust and coming off as a advisor who's there to offer insights and true impact, rather than someone who's just trying to match the numbers together. The second point is why relationship builders lose. Again, this is a very controversial topic, but it's very important. They did studies that showed that relationship builders were seriously outperformed by challenger salespeople. It really covers that reps who avoid tension and rely on their relationships tend to underperform. Finally, it talks about understanding customers' viewpoints about the world, and how important that is to being able to deliver insightful and impactful solutions. The final book that I recommend every person read, regardless of whether you're in sales, business, whatever facet of life that you have put yourself in, I recommend you read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. This book, which I am about to finish, is just fantastic. I was really dreading getting into this book. We learned the 7 habits in elementary school, and it just seemed redundant and simple and obvious. Stephen offers such an interesting writing format and storytelling ability that really shows the impact of the habits that he speaks about. I think that this is fantastic for anyone because it tells us how to be better people, better spouses, better friends, better workers, better group members. It literally helps you in every single experience in your life. And so I can't recommend this one enough. Now, why do I believe this translates to sales? By being a highly effective person and using those habits, you're going to get outputs that directly go to your numbers that you're putting out in sales. 3 of the habits that I think are extremely important for sales are: the first, be proactive; the fifth, seek to understand, then to be understood; and finally, the seventh, sharpen the saw. As for being proactive, it directly correlates with preparation and resiliency. Since sales is a game of rejection and it's consistent, Covey's point of taking ownership for the results that we give and being proactive with the way that we view the work that we do is a game changer for sales resilience. The 5th habit, seek to understand then to be understood, directly aligns with discovery. Understanding exactly what's going on with another person's situation, understanding what it's like from their shoes, and then living in that and experiencing how they may feel, and then focusing on being understood directly relates to what you do in a discovery call. You listen to understand them, and then you talk about how you could provide a solution, aka be understood. Finally, sharpening the saw. This habit is really just to continually refine your game and always be learning. I think this is crucial to stay ahead of the competitive curve within sales just because of how competitive it is. Reps who consistently level themselves up outperform people who just grind. It's about working smarter and harder. So, yeah, those are the 5 books that I recommend to every single person. They have changed so much about what I think about sales. And by reading them, I think I've gained a strong sense of credibility with professionals that are working right now. I will include links to each one in the description. Just to be upfront, this is not a paid promotion. I have made small contact with a few of the authors, but they are not paying me in any way to advertise these. So these are truly just my opinion, and I hope you gain some value from them. Let me know in the comments if you are going to decide to get any of these books, and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. Hope you have a great day.